All right, everyone should have their whiteboard and their notebook out. We are moving incredibly quick this week. Just a friendly reminder, both today and tomorrow, I am doing twice the lectures, which means you need to be checking out plan lectures or you're going to get rocked on this test. We lost a whole day of content. We're behind, for sure. So I'm doing my part, you do your part, and hopefully it all works out, yes? Okay, so next Friday, a week from Friday, is the official end of third quarter. It also happens to be the end, last day before our spring break. So we are going to be grinding real hard. Period 6 has a ton of content, as you're seeing. Keep in mind, on your focus, even though in black bold, you're still explaining what those bold is, and then the italicized, you're still going to define. Everyone clear on that? Sorry, I'm not recording, so I want to make sure I got that in. So, on your whiteboard, please tell me what is the nickname of the time period between World War I and World War II? What do we call this time period? Thank you for reading the signs, guys. Good. What is it, Ricky? Age of Anxiety. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the name of the first guy who starts challenging traditional roles because his idea of theory of relativity. So now people are starting to challenge traditional ideas and seeing things in abstract ways. Good. Matthew. Einstein. On your whiteboard, please tell me, who's the guy who created the subconscious? Because of this guy, people are now going to start going for things they want and not what they've been told they want. Sarah. Freud. On your whiteboard, please tell me, who's the guy who creates abstraction? He's also Cubism. Good. Savannah. Picasso. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is, if boiled down to a point in one word, what is the cause of the Great Depression? What is the cause of the Great Depression in one word? Come on, I got 2, 3, 4. What the hell does that mean? What is that? Lungs. Lungs? Oh, no. Abby. Reparations. On your whiteboard, please tell me, prior to the Great Depression, which country is booming economically because they are both getting tons of payments and loans? What is it, Cheyenne? United States. On your whiteboard, please tell me what ecological disaster is going to occur because American farmers were trying to make as much money off the sale of wheat. This is going to cause a major collapse in the economy and food production. What is it, Ayla? Dust Bowl. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the day the stock market crashed? I want the exact date. What is the day the stock market crashed? Good. Come on. Way to check out the video, Yami. Emma, what do you got? On your whiteboard, tell me the nickname of October 24th, 1929. Good. What is it? Saran. Black Thursday. On your whiteboard, please tell me. 44% of these across the United States are going to collapse because people are trying to withdraw. This is going to cause a complete crisis. What is it, Brayden? Banks. What is it called when all of your consumers want to take their money out of the bank? What is the term for taking money out of the bank in large sums and all of their clients want to take it out? What is it, Phoebe? A run on the bank. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when the United States wanted to burn food, animals, and all of these other things in order to drive up prices? It is an epic failure and is going to lead to starvation of millions. What do we got? Potter. Plan scarcity. All right. Here we go. That's where we left off. Is that correct? Okay, so plan scarcity is created by the United States to try to drive up prices. By having too much of something, prices down, so by increasing the price, it goes up. Okay, so they start burning things. It's a complete and epic failure. So once we see that failure, we have a guy named John Maynard Keynes. Okay, John Maynard Keynes. You're going to put a big star next to him. He's a true American hero, and he's an economist. Okay? John Maynard Keynes is going to come up with this idea. Instead of us trying to facilitate, like burning a bunch of stuff to try to drive up prices, why don't we just play with interest rates? You need to write that down. By manipulating and dropping interest rates, more money is earned. By dropping interest rates, more money is earned, which then can be reinvested into companies. So, John Maynard Keynes says, why don't we lower interest rates? By having lower interest rates, people make more money off of their businesses. With more money in your pocket, you can reinvest that money back into your company, which means people are either building larger structures, which requires you to hire what? People. If you decide you don't need a larger structure, you just need more people, what are you going to do? Hire more people. Okay? So, by lowering interest rates, it's going to help subsidize the economy and help that go. Because when people have money in their pocket, what are they going to do? Spend it. I would write that down. He wants to put more money in the American pocket so that those Americans can go out and spend it. By Americans spending money, we can stimulate the economy. Okay? You need to put a big star. This is why it's a big deal. This saves the U.S. economy. Stops it from free falling. Now, what officially pulls us out of the Great Depression then? Yeah? World War II. But this stops the free fall of the U.S. economy. And I would put another star next to it. Every economic crisis has been, the U.S. now does this. Okay? This is the foundation of every fixer-upper for the American economy. So in 2008, when our economy crashed again, what did the U.S. government do? Dropped interest rates. Now, in case you're following along with Trump, Trump's now fighting with the Fed, okay? Because the Fed, what are they doing now that our economy is strong? They're increasing the interest rates. Well, does increasing interest rates put money or take money out of American pockets? Takes it out. But when the economy is good, we need to take money out of the economy to keep it stationary, correct? We don't want huge fluxes in either direction because then it's volatile and it's dangerous, right? So that's what we are talking about. When you hear Trump talking about the Fed and the interest rates, that's what we're talking about, which is pretty cool because they've been going back and forth. You need to write the New Deal. Put a big star next to it. It's a very big deal. The New Deal was written by FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, not the same as Teddy Roosevelt. Okay? The New Deal is the U.S. government creating jobs to employ as many Americans as possible by building things. Anyone can tell me something that was built during the New Deal? Sam? Huh? I can't hear you. Emma? Empire State Building is a New Deal. It's supported by it. What do you got? Where? What the hell's a big speed bridge?
It's that famous bridge.
What famous bridge is that? It sounds like a terrible bridge.
It's over on the Pacific side.
Oh, okay, sure. There's a random bridge. Enjoy that. Your Key West Highway, yes, you know the one that connects all of your keys? That was built during the New Deal. But most important is going to be Hoover Dam. Write that down. Hoover Dam, is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, Sam. Hoover Dam is going to be the largest project built by the New Deal. Okay? It is going to be paid for by American dollars, and they're going to hire Americans to do it at much greater prices than it could have cost otherwise. All of our interstates, write it down, all of our U.S. interstates, 275, I-4, I-75, all of those are built during the New Deal. It is all about infrastructure. Put a big star and write infrastructure is improved. Now we're also going to have an art, a cultural component to it, but you'll hear more about that in a push. Okay, so they're going to hire artists, they're going to hire teachers, they're going to hire engineers, they're hiring any person they possibly can to put them to work. Does it work? Yes. You're going to put a star. Very effective in getting Americans a paycheck. They didn't want to just hand out money. They wanted people to earn it, to have pride, be proudful, and to accomplish something, which is why the infrastructure gets done. Then you have World War II spending. Okay, this is what gets us out of the Great Depression. World War II spending is what gets us out. Okay, World War II spending. Once war is declared in the United States in 1939, the United States is officially out of the Great Depression. Okay, now it was improved by Maynard Keynes, the New Deal, and then that's going to officially pull us out. What, Caleb?
What year did we officially join?
39. We joined in 41, but the war breaks out in 39. But we're mass producing all this stuff for the Allies powers. We're doing the same thing. You know how we lost the Lusitania because we were sending stuff? Guess what we do in World War II? Same exact thing. So, all right, here we go. So next heading is Bolshevik. You can write Russia if you want. We got more details we're going to know. Okay, so the Bolshevik Revolution, of course, we've already talked about. Now, the Bolshevik Revolution causes the Civil War, the Russian Civil War. Who can raise their hand and tell me who's on the two teams of the Russian Civil War? Tristan. Whites and the Reds. What are their official names? Bolsheviks and Mensheviks. So these two sides are going to be fighting. Then they're going to start the Red Terror campaign. So the Civil War is technically 2 years, but most people group the terror into it, so it's typically, we say 4 years. What?
Is this
No, we've switched. We're in Russia now. So, you do need to know during the Red Terror campaign, so if it's Red Terror, who's running it? Bolsheviks are running it. They're going to execute the Tsar. They're going to do it by accident. They didn't really want to kill him, but a bunch of guards got nervous, so they shot him. The funny thing is that it took like 15 shots to kill the royal family because they had all of their jewels sewn into their clothes. Like, it looked like they were just wearing regular clothes, but they just had layers and layers of diamonds and jewels and all that stuff sewn into their clothes. Because of that, when they got shot in the chest, because you don't typically shoot women in the face, right, anywhere, they couldn't shoot them. The bullets were ricocheting all around. No one was dying. The problem is that they eventually had to shoot them in the face because it was the only place that they could actually kill them, and then they get dragged and they get dumped into an abandoned mine. And that's what happened to your royal family, including all the children. There's no chick running around. Okay, now, the whites are going to be defeated in 1920. Now, Lenin is in power at this point. So Lenin's Russia is where you're going to write for your next heading. So, there's chaos. Lenin is in power. So what he does is he creates this thing called war communism from 1918 to 1922. In this war communism that Lenin's creating. Now, please listen. Lenin is a true believer. Lenin is a true believer. Lenin is a true believer in communism. Okay? Our next guy, Stalin, is he? No, absolutely not. He wanted to be treated like an aristocracy for sure. Now, rapid collectivization, you need to know that term. What that means is the government takes over all farmland. Rapid collectivization is when the government takes over all farmland and takes over all valuable companies. So what would be an example of a valuable company do you think the Soviet Union would want to take over? Huh? Amazon? Well, no, yeah, I mean, they're the most valuable company. Guys, what type of companies do you think they're taking over? Manufacturing companies, oil companies, gas companies are also taking. Anything that can turn a massive profit and help in any way. So they're taking over most things, okay? Now, you need to put a big star and write super unpopular. Super unpopular. So war communism fails, and he starts NEP. You need to know that he starts with war communism. It's too extreme. It doesn't go well. Then he's like, well, shit, everyone's pissed. Then he goes to the new economic policy, NEP. Okay? So, what is the NEP? It is a hybrid communism, capitalism plan. Write that down. The NEP is a hybrid communism, capitalistic plan where Some land is taken from your poorer people and collectivized and given out to other people. Some of your weaker companies are taken. However, your strongest companies, your wealthiest people are still in power. I'd probably write that down. Now, if we're connecting that to today, what do we call Russian people who have a ton of influence in their government who are incredibly wealthy? They're called oligarchs in Russia today. If you listen to any of the news talking about Russia, keep talking about how these Russian oligarchs are apparently trying to interfere with U.S. government policy. Yes, they're speaking on behalf of Russia. That's who these people are. We didn't create them. Lenin created them when he did NEP. Isn't that cool? No, we don't care. Okay, to the boards. That was a lot of information. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the name of the dude who saves the U.S. economy? What is the name of the dude, the real American hero, who is still now? I love FDR, but it ain't FDR. Who is the guy who's going to save the U.S. economy from free fall? Who is it? Nate?
John Maynard.
John Maynard Keynes. He saves it. What does John Maynard Keynes suggest manipulating in order to keeping more money in people's pocket? Which means they can spend more, which means they can hire more. What are they planning to manipulate, Yannick? Interest rates. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the name of the U.S. government hiring lots of people to do infrastructure, cultural projects in order to just spend money to help stimulate the economy? Annie? New Deal. On your whiteboard, what is the U.S. president who supported the New Deal? Good. Yeah. FDR. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what officially pulls the United States out of Great Depression? World War I. Good. What is it, Ricky? World War II. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when Lenin took all of the farmland and took over all companies? What is it called? No. It's not called collectivization. It has a fancy term. What is it called when Lenin himself took over? So far I got 3 correct answers. What is it, Quinn? War communism is when Lenin takes over. If it's by Lenin, it's called war communism. If it just says a leader takes over all farmland in order to redistribute, that would be collectivization. Do we see that? Okay? When Lenin is there, he calls it war communism. That's what makes it special for him. On your whiteboard, does it fail or does it succeed? Good. What is it? Amari. Fails. And he replaces it with what? Good. Sydney. NEP. On your whiteboard, please tell me, does the NEP fail or succeed? Okay. It succeeds, but it's not like awesome. Can we agree? Okay. It's okay. So, what is the NEP? Let's go to it. Okay. Now, what is going to happen? It does bring some capitalistic components, which we did talk about. Okay. It does. The best thing that it does is create technical schools, and you need to know that. Why is that important? Because during World War II, as soon as we get industrialization, Russia is going to push itself to be a technological power. So NEP, the only real successful things it does, it creates technical schools. These technical schools are going to propel Russia into the Cold War. This Cold War is when the United States and Russia almost blew each other up with our technology. So are they technologically advanced?
Yes.
Yes. Why? NEP is technical schools. Now, are they technologically advanced right now? No, they haven't industrialized yet, but they're about to industrialize here in about 2 minutes. Yeah, we now for the first time Russia gets some electricity in most parts of it. Okay, so the only successful thing is really that it's not horrible. Now, Lenin is going to die. Okay, he has 3 strokes and dies in 1924. The importance of this is that there's now a power crisis in Russia. Do you think Lenin is expecting to only rule Russia for about 6 years? No. Do you think he had a real strong plan of authority of who comes next? No. It is chaos. He knows he's dying, so a guy named Stalin rises through the ranks. Now, how do you rise through the ranks of a Bolshevik party? You kill anyone who opposes you. That's how you rise through the ranks. One of my favorite death stories is that Stalin, who's like a big dude, like a big Russian dude, picks up another guy by the throat and chokes him off while his feet are dangling. That is a boss move. I don't care who you are. That is like legitimately amazing. What?
This is a fun fact. Lenin actually explicitly said to his people who were below him that he, whatever they do, do not let Stalin in
Yeah,
power.
he's a horrible human
Stalin
being.
just killed all those people.
Yeah, so you had no choice.
And he was actually
Stalin! Huh?
He was actually ethnically Jewish.
I know, we got that right there. Here we go.
Here
Here we go. Stalin is your new guy. So Stalin replaces Lenin. Stalin didn't want it, but he didn't have a choice because Stalin killed everyone else. So you need to know that he believes he is known as the Man of Steel. Okay? Not like in the hero Superman way, but as in people tried killing him and he wouldn't die. He got shot like 3 times. People tried slitting his throat in the middle of the night, but then those people died like crazy. Yeah, this guy's a horrible human being. He killed more people than Hitler. The only reason why we don't think of Stalin as that bad of a guy and Hitler's the worst guy in history is because Stalin was on our team, Hitler was against us, so the propaganda was against Hitler. He's a horrible human being. Fascinating. Horrible human being. So, you do need to note that he is going to be in complete control of the Soviet Union by 1928. So we're going to have about 4 years of crisis. Okay? It's a hot mess. Stalin rises into power because he literally kills everyone. You need to know it is going to shift from communism in quotes to socialism. Okay? Communism is in quotes because it's not really communism. We know that. However, this whole idea that everyone is equal is out of the window. Stalin doesn't want to be equal to peasants. Okay, Stalin, okay? He's not going to be equal to people. He transitions to socialism. In socialism, who is in charge?
You.
Well, if you're looking at our perfect ideas of socialism, who controls everything? The state does. So, the state is now in control of every aspect of the government. Every aspect of the country, you need to know that. What do you got? Sarah? 1928. Okay, so, first thing you need to write, big star, the first 5-year plan. Stalin comes into power in 1928. He creates the 5-year plan. This is a plan, you're going to write this down. Russia will industrialize in 5 years and do this, 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 this. Okay, you don't need to know what the major components are. But he says Russia will be industrialized in 5 years. You're going to put another big star underneath it and write, incredibly successful. Russia officially industrializes under Stalin and his 5-year plan. You're going to write next to it, though, it's incredibly brutal, destructive, and a hardship on peasants. But do they industrialize?
Yeah.
They do. They really do, which is really impressive. Okay? He's also going to do massive collectivization and call them kulaks. So when you hear kulaks, who is in charge of them? Stalin. Okay? When Lenin does collectivization, it's called war communism. When Stalin does it, it's called kulaks. Okay? It's pretty successful. Okay? It's okay. It gets him through the hard part, but he calls it quits in 1931. So the kulaks fail in 1931, even though Stalin says it's successful. Is it really as successful as Stalin said?
No.
No, if it was super successful, we continue doing it. But it did serve its purpose during the industrialization. Yeah, kulaks is the name of the people and the whole term, the whole thing. Yeah. Okay. Now, going back to how horrible of a human being Stalin is, we're going to put a big star. Under Stalin, he is going to commit the Great Purge. Okay, he's going to create the Great Purge. He removes all enemies and potential enemies from Russia by sending them to the Gulag, G-U-L-G-A-G. Now, obviously, Hitler's concentration camps. We've all heard of them. Yes? Okay. Absolutely horrible. I'm not taking a single thing from them. Absolutely not. Concentration camp. If you were sent to one of Hitler's concentration camps, you had about a 6-month expectation of life. In a gulag in Russia, you had about a month. Okay? That's the big difference. G-U-L-G-A-G, gulag. So, yeah, I mean, they're absolutely horrific. So, what's going to happen is he's just going to clean out the whole government. Does this make him more powerful or weaker? Much more powerful, and you're going to put a big star. This makes Stalin much more powerful and an autocrat. He is now in full control of his government. Everything is at his whim. Okay, so the Great Purge done by Stalin, it makes him significantly stronger. It makes him essentially an autocrat. All right, so here we go on the whiteboards. Let's go. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the name of the first leader of the Soviet Union? By the way, there's 5 of them, and you'll know them all, but we haven't got to the rest. First leader. Good. Who is it, Cheyenne? Lenin. On your whiteboard, who is the second leader of the Soviet Union? Good. What is it, Ricky? Stalin. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is going to finally industrialize Russia? What will finally industrialize Russia? Good, Brayden. On your whiteboard, what is it called when Stalin is going to collectivize? What do we call it? Good, no. What is it, Abby? Gulag. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when Lenin collectivizes? No. Good. Better this time than last time. What is it? Madison. War communism. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is Stalin's nickname? It always comes up. They love that crap. What is Stalin's nickname? What is it, Matthew? Man of Steel. On your whiteboard, what is it called when Stalin is going to remove all enemies of any opposition of him? They're going to be sent to the gulags, which is literally hell on earth. What are they? Who is it? And what is it, Alejandro? The Great Purge. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is... Perfect. What is the biggest long-lasting accomplishment of the NEP? What is the longest lasting accomplishment of the NEP? Yes, we can't just throw that down on a test. Oligarchs are a good answer, but the oligarchs exist because of it, fine. But what else am I looking for, Savannah? Technological school that's going to lay the foundation for them. All right, here we go. All right, fascism is your next title. What, Sam? Huh? Oh, no, they're all over the place. They needed them all over the place because they just put so many people in it. All right, here we go. So fascism is your next title. Okay? You need to know that fascism was created by Benito Mussolini, and I would put next to it Italy. Okay? It is a political ideology. It is a political ideology that focuses on extreme nationalism. Militarism, xenophobia. So it is a political ideology. Okay? Like, for instance, here in the United States, it is socially acceptable to be either a Republican or a Democrat, correct? In these countries that fascism is going to exist, you could be a Republican, a Democrat, or a fascist. That's what we mean by political ideology. Does that make sense? Okay? So, today here in the United States, we have a new, they don't have an official platform or anything, they're not that big, but populism, which is also a political ideology, which is how Donald Trump came into power. Does that make sense? So political ideologies rise and fall all the time. This happens to be a huge one that is going to rise. Now, right now, we're in the middle of a populist heyday. This is all over the world. We have populism. People just like Donald Trump are popping up in all over countries, and we're going to see the cause of all this stuff coming up as we get closer to it. But this is the same type of thing. It kind of came out, not out of nowhere. This idea of populism here in the United States, we can all agree Donald Trump kind of came out of nowhere, yes? Okay, with all of his beliefs and ideas. The same thing's going to happen with fascism. After World War I, things are really hard. This whole idea of fascism is going to rise with it, okay? So, you need to know, these are the major cornerstones of fascism. By the way, if I was ever going to be a government leader, I'd be a fascist one. First of all, their parades are awesome and their outfits are great. And could you imagine my face in every building, smiling down at you, all knowing? It'd be amazing. That's the type of government I'd like to be. Who cares about the president? I want to be a fascist. I don't really mean that, Ron, so don't go home and be like, oh my god, Ben wants to be a fascist. Just kidding. But if I was going to control the country, this is how I'd like to do it, because it's pretty damn effective. Do better. Okay, so when we talk about fascism, it is the state over the individual. You are part of a bigger thing. Do your part. It's like their big chimp. Devotion to a strong leader. I would put a big star next to this one. It is all about the leader. All about the leader. Can you think of Nazi Germany and not think Hitler? No, you can't. That is how important these leaders have to be. It's ethnocentric. What does ethnocentric mean? Tristan? Yeah. So if you're German, being German is the most important part of who you are as a person. If you're in Italy, what is the most important part? Being Italian. All of that's ethnocentric. Militaristic, of course, we know. Anti-communist. Put a big circle and a big star. If you are fascist, you are not communist. If you are fascist, you are not communist. That is a huge distinction. Huge distinction that every year kids get confused. If you are a fascist, you are not a communist. Fascists believe that there should be one supreme leader, right? We got Hitler, we got Mussolini, who was super powerful for a while, and then he kind of falls off like a clown. Okay? With that being said, do you think Hitler wants to be considered the equal to a farmer in Germany? No, absolutely not. That's the big difference between the two. What do you got, Matthew?
The North Korea, they consider communists or fascists?
Oh, they're definitely more fascist than they are communists. I mean, they call themselves communists because it sounds nicer, but everyone knows they're not. It's he's a monster. But yeah, it would totally be more fascist than it is communist for sure. What do you got, Samuel?
So was Russia at the time fascist?
No, because they're still parading around. They're just more autocratic. They're not really fascist. They don't have the military to be fascist. So that's what we're going to come about, is that it's all about militarism. And they just don't have the power. What?
What exactly is xenophobia?
Xenophobia is a fear of foreigners. If you didn't know that, you should write that down. It's a fear of foreigners. So anyone who is not naturally born in that country should be removed from that country. That's going to be a very common thing. And of course, who's going to take the brunt of this in World War II? The Jews. Remember, the Jews don't have a homeland because they were kicked out. That all comes back to this whole fascist thing. Yes? Okay. All right, so fascism in Italy, because this is where it begins. What? Chauvinistic is all about men. Chauvinistic is that men are the greatest and women are just here to make babies. Literally, Hitler had camps where people that look like me, blonde hair, blue eyes, would just go together, make babies, and that was my job, is just to make as many blonde hair, blue-eyed babies as possible. No, really. There would be camps, and because I'm blonde hair, blue-eyed, I would be sent to this camp, and I would just pump out babies with other beautiful blonde hair, blue-eyed people. That's all I would do. I'm not kidding. That's how it would go. So, Hitler thinks I'm perfect, so shoot in the face. All right, so fascism in Italy. Okay, you need to know that post-World War I has caused a lot of tensions in Italy. Post-World War I, there's a lot of tensions. Number one is the Great Depression. Do we agree it's going to cause problems? Yes, obviously, so write that. Number two, the Italians feel like they got screwed from the Treaty of Versailles. Okay? They feel they got screwed from the Treaty of Versailles. Now, ladies and gentlemen, why did Italy actually get screwed out of the Treaty of Versailly? Why, Savannah? Yeah, they're on two different teams. So they were on the losing team, and then they jumped to the winning team right before they won. And of course, England, France, and the United States were like, no. The ironic thing is, who also shouldn't have gotten as much as we did? United States, because we showed up at the end. But we did pay for a lot of stuff, so they're upset with the fact they didn't win as much. So, Mussolini rises into influence. Now, he's a newspaper editor, okay? You don't need to know that. You don't need to write it down. Just be aware. So, is he very good at speaking? Does he understand what the public wants? Yes. So, what he's going to do is that he is going to rise into power with a group called the Black Shirts. And you do need to know that. They're called the Black Shirts. He becomes so powerful and influential. King Emmanuel II offered him prime minister to kind of stop him. Okay, you do need to know that. He rises into power in the Black Shirts. Okay, he becomes very, very powerful. And the King of Italy gives him prime minister to kind of stop him. We're going to see this exactly mirrored in Germany. Okay, it's going to be mirrored exactly. Hitler's going to rise. They're going to try to quell him by giving him prime minister to essentially the same type of position. It's obviously not going to go well. In 1926, you need to know that date. This is the official start of fascism. It's in 1926. Mussolini takes power of Italy. Okay, so this is the official start of fascism because Mussolini's now in place. What do you got, Ayla?
What was the name of the movie?
Emmanuel II? The third, sorry. I said third, second, but it's the third. It's his son. Emmanuel II was the first king they put back in once they unified. He's the third. Okay, we're jumping to Germany. With your boy Adolf. Okay, now, after World War I, Hitler gets a check from the government for his service in the war. Does that make sense? Even though Germany has no money, he still gets a check for his service. With that check, he applies to art school. He gets rejected from art school. Huh? Nah, just be aware. So, he gets rejected from art school, and just like every good German, when he gets depressed, what does he do? Go. Jesus. Holy shit, no. That is not what Miss Bennett said, okay? Like a good German, he goes to the pub. Yes? He goes to the brew house and he decides to start drinking. So while he is in depression from getting a rejection from his art school, he stumbles into a bar and starts listening to people from the National Socialist German Workers' Party. You need to write that down. That's what Nazis actually means. Okay? So in 1919, he walks into a bar and he starts hearing all these people talk. Now, tell me, forget go back and kill Hitler as a baby. Why didn't you get him accepted to that damn art school? Right? The world would be a totally different place. It wouldn't be in this bar getting drunk. You wouldn't have found it. Anyway, so by 1921, he becomes the most powerful person in the Nazi Party. Okay? Now, he is going to attempt to overthrow the government in 1923. It fails. You need to know that. In 1923, he attempts to overthrow the Wertheim government. This is post-World War II. We'll get into that in World War I. It fails. So what happens to the dude if you fail to overthrow? Where does he go? He goes to jail. You need to know that. While he's sitting in jail, he writes Mein Kampf, which means my struggle in German. Okay? While sitting in jail, he writes Mein Kampf, and it is straight up propaganda bullshit. My husband and I read it, well, we listened to it, when we were driving to Virginia on a long trip. Oh my God. First of all, Hitler thinks Hitler's great. In case you didn't know that. This is in 1923 that he wrote it. It's interesting. It's very propaganda. All it is talking about the grandeur of Germany and blaming all of Germany's problems on the Jews. You should probably write that down. Okay, Mein Kampf, all it does is talk about the greatness of Germany and how it's been tainted by the Jews. Now, Mein Kampf is a very big deal. You could only, After World War II, you couldn't buy it in Germany after World War II, which makes sense, right? It was banned. Now, 2 years ago, they released it for the first time in Germany. The ban ended about 2 years ago in Germany. And it sold out the day it was released. Now, I don't know if it was because the Germans are like, yeah, Mein Kampf. Or is it because I couldn't have it, now I can have it, so I want it. That's definitely a part of it. But populism is going to mirror some of these whole things, correct? As you saw with our list of fascism, it does mirror. And populism in Germany is very extreme. It's very popular. All right. Now, Hitler's biggest problems with post-World War I. So Hitler's biggest issues post-World War I. I see you just smiling to get through this. You need to know that he thinks the War Guilt Clause destroyed Germany. Okay, War Guilt Clause destroys Germany. The reparations, obviously unfair. Shouldn't have to tell you that. Okay. And his big thing is anti-Semitism is on the rise. He thinks Jews are the reason why Germany lost World War I. Ladies and gentlemen, are the Jews the reason why Germany lost World War I? No. Had nothing to do with the Jews. Why? Why did he pick the Jews? He could have picked anyone. Why does he pick the Jews? Potter.
Because they had a lot of shares in their economy.
Okay, yeah, they're incredibly wealthy. They are absolutely very wealthy, had a huge impact in the economy. But why else the Jews? Tristan. Yeah, it's an easy scapegoat. Do we agree? If you start making, like, if you hear anti-Semitic, you've probably heard anti-Semitic things your whole life, have you? I'm not saying you're, like, anti-Semitic yourself, but haven't you heard those comments being made? Absolutely. So, is it easier to make something or to just pile on? Pile on. And it's always easier to have a scapegoat than to take responsibility. Ah, man, we really screwed up back there, correct? So, that is why he picks the Jews. Now, keep in mind, Hitler's also half Jewish. So why does he pick the Jews? Is it because they really did terrible things, or is it because it's an easy scapegoat that most egotistical people will easily jump on? That's why. Alright, so you need to know that Hitler does get out of jail after spending like 5 or 7 years in jail. He does get back out. When he gets out, the Nazi Party is the largest party in Germany. Now, Hitler is not in power. He is not in power. He's not in power, but they happen to be the largest party in Germany. Now, the president of Germany went to the Weimar Republic post-World War I. The Weimar Republic is led by Paul von Hindenburg. Okay? Paul von Hindenburg, to try to quell Hitler, just like Emmanuel III tried to quell Mussolini, puts Hitler in chancellor, which is like prime minister. This is his first public position. Okay, so Hitler becomes Chancellor of Germany in order to quell the Nazis. No, he was the prime minister. He was just the president of the Nazis. He was the leader of the Nazi Party. No, this is the first time he's ever had any government office. He's just the leader of the party. Like, we have a Democratic leader of the Democratic Party, there's a Republican leader, who's Mitch McConnell. Those are just the leaders of the party, they're not actually in charge. But we got a lot done today, true or not true?
True.
Wow.
What exactly is populism?
Populism is, it's a flexible term because we can't put it in historical perspective. Fascism, we can put it in historical perspective. Because there's been years, it's been gone, we as historians can look back at it and say this. Populism is this ethnocentricity, okay, it's xenophobic, it's about purifying your country to a degree, it's about militarism-ish, about building up your military, becoming the most as powerful as you can-ish. He's not fascist, but there's a lot of parallels to the fascist component of it, which is what populism is. Populism is like, I've heard it explained as the diet fascist, which I thought was pretty genius because they do have a lot of similarities. And I will tell you, as there's a lot of people who really do believe in what Trump stands for and what Trump believes. My whole family are huge Trump supporters. Vice President. So, I mean, he's echoing what people believe. So I mean, you can't hate Trump because I mean he's echoing what the United States people want, right? And that's a democracy. Trying to be as fair and balanced here as one could possibly be. I hope that comes across as that. Yes.
Yes, you're good. How much more notes on the commission do we have?
Oh, we did it.
Oh, we don't?
Yeah. I hauled it. I really
Okay.
did. So yeah, no.
If I need to, I don't want to, I want to like space in my notes, but I don't have to.
No, you're good. I think I could maybe do it in 2 days. What?
Do you think it's possible for him to be reelected?
Trump?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. He can definitely.